Hi guys, welcome back to the channel and welcome back to Exclusion Zone Botanist, a solo drawing and sketching game by Exeunt Press. In the previous video we did a quick overview of what the game is, what it contains, what it's meant to be, and in this video we're going to be doing a playthrough showing off my limited artistic skills. We have the new agent handbook. We have my little sketching thing that I created. I've got a sort of cutting mat in order to prevent my pencil from going through into the table. Got our map sheet here. I've got my little cube to help me to designate what time of day it is to keep track of the time. We've got our little plant token, our mutant sci-fi plant token, which is actually an STL that you can download for free. That's going to be showing where I am in the EZ, the exclusion zone. So yes, if you didn't watch the previous video, basically this is a game very similar to the Annihilation movie and The Color Out of Space by Lovecraft, where this area of the world or this area of the land has basically become a no-go area. It's full of corruption and anybody in the zone can become corrupted and become a plant. But we do need people to go in to discover and document all the weird and wonderful plant life that is growing in this exclusion zone. And that's what we're going to be doing. So the game is very, very simple. You are going to have a limited number of hours in which to spend in this area. And in order for you to get out, you have to come back to this starting hex here. This is the infill exfil portal. Only place to get out. Now the game is very, very simple. You move, you try to find a plant, you sketch the plant if necessary, you check for corruption, then you move to another zone. Very, very simple. You are going to need two 6-sided dice for this game. They do recommend a light and a dark. Hopefully these will show up okay on the camera. They look okay. You're going to need pencil and eraser, and what I'm thinking is that I might utilize some color pencils as well. We'll have to see how we go. I'm not that confident in my artistic skills. Maybe the colored pencils will make it look better. We are ready to begin. So this is going to be the playthrough. I'm also going to get my daughter to do a playthrough. I've created her own little sketchbook, and we're going to see who can do the best plants. But I'll show you her pictures at the end. Let us go. We start the game in this bottom hex here. We start at the first hour of time, which is 5 o'clock in the morning. We're being dropped off by some kind of vehicle. This zone, all technology basically doesn't function, so we're being dropped off on the outside, and we are now going to enter the zone into the first hex. And we're going to start the game. So there is a sort of flow chart in the book to tell you what you do. So start your incursion, look for new plants, check for corruption, move to new location, begin the next hour. So we are in the first hex. The first thing we need to do is look for new plants. So this is done with a single D6. And what you're looking at are the map areas. And each map area has this large number. Now, to discover a plant in these areas, you have to roll equal or less than those numbers on a D6. So in this first area here, there is a very low chance of finding a plant because it only has the number 1. This area has the number 2, so we need to roll 2 or less. This area has a 5 or less. Each of these areas is made up of hexes that we can move through. So we're going to see, okay, in our first hex, do we find a plant? The answer is no. We roll a 5. So we don't find any plants in here. However, we now do have to check for corruption. To do that, you come back up here to sort of the time tracker, and you'll notice that there are these values called RV. This is the risk value. Now, what you've got to do for the corruption is you're rolling 2 dice, and you're rolling them separately, okay? So what you want for these dice is to roll equal or above the risk value. Because if both of the dice are of a value lower than the risk value, you get corrupted. So for example, where we are now, at 5 o'clock in the morning, we have a risk value of 1. It's impossible for me to roll less than 1. So therefore, at 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, and 7 o'clock, we are going to be safe. We're not going to be corrupted. However, when it gets to 8 o'clock, we're now moving into this section of our timetable, RV2, risk value 2. So on hours 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, and 10 o'clock, when I roll these dice, if I get a double 1, I then am corrupted. Now, when you get corrupted, you've got to tick or make a note of each step or each stage of corruption, starting at the first, ending in the last. Now, if you do get corrupted so much that you get the last level, it basically means you turn into a plant. Again, very reminiscent of the Annihilation book and movie. So, there's no point me double 6. Okay, that would be good for corruption rules. But yeah, in the first few hours, we don't have to worry about corruption because we can't roll lower than 1. So we're fine. Now, the next hour, we're moving to 6 o'clock in the morning. We're now going to move to the next hex. Now, we've got a choice. We can move here, here, or here. There's no rules or conditions or effects from moving from one hex to another unless the plants are of a type that can hinder you. So what I'm going to do, I think I'm just going to move to this hex there. So again, we're now looking for plants. We're still in map area 1 or zone 1. So to find a new plant in that area, I have to roll a 1 or less. We do. Okay, so we have found our first plant in our second hex. So what we do now is we have to go to the book, or if you're playing with the first edition or the first version of the rules, you'll be going to this section of the trifold, because the first edition was a trifold. But the later editions, we have this new agent handbook, and what we're going to do is we're going to come to the, where is it? Here we go, the Plant Discovery Guide. I've got to make sure that I don't move stuff. So, Plant Discovery Guide. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to move this out of the way for the moment. Let's just move it there. Is it still on camera? Yeah, it's still on camera, kind of. It's okay. I'm just going to move it out of the way so I don't knock anything. So what we're going to do now is we are going to create our first plant. And this is going to contain, or this is going to be made up of 4 steps. Step 1, size. Step 2, leaf shape. Step 3, leaf arrangement. And step 4, unusual features. And the unusual features is where this new sort of version or updated version is different from the original. Again, we explained all this in the first video. So for our first plant, and what I'm going to do, I made these little sketchbooks so I can actually staple them later once I've completed them. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take a piece of paper out of there, put it back in afterwards, and we're going to have our first plant. So this is going to be a D6 for size, a 3. So this is medium size. I'm going to put the name at the top here, but I'm going to put here medium size. Oops, I've broken my pencil lead already. So medium size, determine leaf shape. For this one we need to roll 2d6. 6. Wow. Rhomboidal leaves. Okay, so this is not going to be making it any easier for me to draw. Rhomboidal leaves. Okay. What about the leaf arrangement? There are 3 options: alternate, opposite, and whorlet. For this is a D6. 6 again, my goodness. Okay. So we've got a whorlet leaf arrangement. And then the final thing we need to do is to note any unusual features. So for this, we're going to roll 2d6. The dark die determines the group. The light die determines the specific type. So we roll. Now, when I used this as an example in the last video, I got 6, didn't I? Let's see what we get this time. We get a 2, 4. So the 2, the dark die, tells me the group. So the group is plant group B, and we get a 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Caustic berries. Let me just write that down. Brightly coloured berries. Extremely caustic, they have killed all the surrounding plants. You see a blackened, saponified rabbit. Saponified. Don't know what that means. Saponified rabbit at the base of the plant, converted to soap by the alkalinity. Okay, lots of big words there. Converted to soap. Rabbit soap. Okay. Okay, don't eat these berries, I think they're trying to say. Let me just quickly write down a bit of the description here. Right, I've edited some of the key items here. I've also gone online. I'm not good at making up names. So I've gone online to a random generator and come up with a kind of name, which I've then modified a little bit to include the caustic berries. Now we've got to try and draw the blooming thing. Now, how am I going to do this? I think if I basically keep the video at normal speed as I'm drawing it, this video is going to be hours and hours long. So I'm either going to, let me think, should I just speed up this part as I draw, or should I just show you the final drawing? I think I'll probably just show you the final drawing. Yeah, I think that's going to save some time. So I will be back in a second with my final masterpiece of the Cronum costerita. Right, we're back. We've drawn the first plant, and again, I did warn you, my drawing skills aren't brilliant, but we did have this caustic berry plant that we had to draw. Our first plant in the exclusion zone that we have managed to find in our second hex only. Let's bring back this, bump, bump, bump. Back onto screen. So we're only in the second hex, second hour, but we did find our first plant, and it was the Cronum costerita. Medium plant, rhomboidal leaves. I kind of tried to do rhomboidal leaves. Hall arrangements, they're basically like in circles. Caustic berries, so I tried to put the circles under the leaves here. Brightly coloured, extremely caustic, killed all surrounding plants. I didn't bother with the rabbit that was in the description. There's supposed to be some blackened rabbit turning into soap or something. I didn't bother with that. I just think yourselves lucky that I managed to do some kind of plant in the end. So this is going to be our first entry into our sketchbook. The first plant we find. It can only get better. That's the way I'm looking at it. The quality of my pictures can only get better. Right. So now that we've done that, we now have to go and check for corruption for this hex. We haven't done that yet. So we are still in RV1, which again means that I can't be corrupted because I can't roll lower than 1. And for corruption, both of these die have to be below the RV number. So we're still good and uncorrupted. We're now moving into the next hex. Now, do I want to stay in area 1, or do I want to move into area 2? If I move into, still stay in area 1, I can move into 3 next turn. Whereas here I can come up into this area there. I mean, moving in this direction, I'm kind of thinking may get me the most plants. But this, I don't know, let's try going in this direction. So for our next move, we're going to move into map area 2, zone 2. So now to find a plant, we need to roll a 2 or less on a d6. We get a 3, so we do not find another plant in this hex. Oh, I didn't move that, did I? We are at 7 o'clock now. 5, 6, 7 o'clock. So we're still at risk value 1, so we're still fine because we can't roll lower than 1. We are not corrupted. Where am I going to go now? I could go into zone 3, or I could continue up here towards zone 4. I think that's what I'm going to do. Like I said, I could go this way, but let's keep going north a little bit. So the next turn, we're moving into this hex here. So we're still in zone 2. Do we find a plant? Nope. Okay, we are 5, 6, 7, 8. So we are now actually at 8 o'clock. So we now are at risk value 2. So there is a chance that I can start getting corrupted, but only if I get a double 1. Because again, don't know how many times I've said this, but when you're rolling for corruption, both dice have to be under the risk value. So No, okay, a 6 and a 3, we are still fine. But as the time goes on, it's going to become much more likely that I get infected and corrupted. So now I think I'm going to move into zone 4 up here. So it's now 9 o'clock. 5, 6, 7, 8. It's now 9 o'clock. And now I need to roll a 4 or less to find a plant. So we roll, we get a 2. So now we do find a second plant. Now, how am I going to do this in my sketchbook? I mean, is it going to... Yeah, it should be fine if I draw there. Because I was thinking that maybe the colours and the pencil would show through on the next page. But I don't think it will. So I think we're good in terms of putting the next plant here. And again, once I've completed the game, I'll be taking all the plants that I draw. I'll be putting them inside this cover. And I'll be stapling it as a sort of permanent reminder. But yes, so this is the first plant. We're now doing our second plant. Actually, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a piece of scrap paper in between. Because I don't want this pencil to actually go onto this page here. So I'm just going to use a piece of scrap paper in between. Right. Move the cover out of the way. So our second plant. Again, let me move the map out of the way. And I can't forget to do the corruption afterwards. So our second plant that we are discovering. And again, I'll probably go online quickly off camera to a random generator to roll up a random name. So size is a 2. It's a small plant this time. Okay. A small plant. The leaves, 2d6. Oops, reroll that. We get 5. So this time we have elliptic leaves. Arrangement, d6. 6. Haul it again. And unusual features. We get a 2, 3. Oh, it's almost the same as what I got last time, I think, wasn't it? Let's take a look. So the group 2, so it's group B, and we've got I think we had a 4 last time. This time we have a 3. So again, you'll notice that the previous and this new one, they don't have any sort of bold text. So the bold text is where the plant will have an effect on the game. At the moment, these are just sort of visual or descriptive elements, but nothing that will actually affect me. So what's this one? Black ooze. Thick black sap streams out of every crack in the plant, actively dripping onto the ground and collecting in small pools with rainbow sheens. You wonder if those are footprints leading away from it. Huh? Footprints? What? Now here's the thing. I haven't actually, I mean, I've played this a few times, but I haven't read all the entries in terms of the different types of plant, what's the word? Features. So I don't know whether there's any that are going to have humanity or human things. Footprints. Ooh, okay. So I'm going to write that into the description. So we've got, it is a 2, 3 black ooze. Right. So now let me, again, like we did here, let me just quickly make some notes in terms of this description here. Let me roll up a random name and then I will draw, or try to draw, the new plant. See you in a second. Right, second plant has been documented. Let me move the map back in here. There we go. So we have, in this hex, discovered our second plant. And again, please be gentle. Here we go. So I just created a random name, Danae Monticola. I don't know. Small elliptic leaves, and again it was like a haulet arrangement. Black ooze, thick black sap streaming from every crack, dripping onto the ground. So yeah, again, I haven't put the footsteps or anything down there. I think it's more sort of story based than actual drawing a picture of a plant. But I'm kind of, I don't know. Does that look like a plant to you? It's gonna do, right? So now we actually have 2 plants recorded. And again, this can go into our journal with all the others we're going to find. Right, on with the journey. Okay, we have to do our corruption check for this area here. Dump, dump. We are at 9 o'clock. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So yes, I did the second plant. So now I've got to do the corruption check. Still only risk value 2. We're still good, a 4 and a 5. So we're still fine. We're not corrupted yet. Where are we going to move? Because I've got to make sure that I'm going to have enough time to get back as well. Because if you get to this point here and you're not near the exfil, you're in serious trouble. So I'm thinking we'll continue on this path a little bit more. 10, 11, 12, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, possibly. We'll see. Okay, so I'm thinking I'm going to go up again. So we're still in the 4 zone. So this is now at 10 o'clock, so it's still at risk value 2. Do we find a plant? We need a 4 or less. Yes, we do. We find another plant. Lovely jubbly. Right, so we're going to be doing another plant. Here we go. Got me spare piece of paper so I don't get pencil everywhere. Because as you can see here, it did actually come out as I was drawing the other plant. And here, so when you're doing things like this, try and keep a scrap piece of paper so that pencils don't actually go onto stuff you don't want them to go onto. Right, let's move the map out of the way. We are currently there. 10 o'clock in the morning. We found 2 plants already, and we're now going to explore and find our 3rd plant, which is really good. Right. Now, in terms of winning objectives of this game, there aren't really any except for basically to survive, not become a plant. You can always make for the exfil, sort of the exit hex, and leave whenever you want. You don't have to stay in this exclusion zone until the end of the day. Right, let's have a look and see what we've got. So, plant size. We get a 1. It's another small plant. Okay, small. What about the leaf shape? The leaf shape is a 5 again. Another elliptic leaves or leaves. What about the arrangement, please? I want something different than haul it. I want something different than haul it. Di says no. Haul it again. All right, so so far it's looking exactly the same as the last one. Same. Let's hope we don't get the same feature. We've got a 2, 3. Okay, the first plant was a 2, 4. The second plant was a 2, 3. Let's try and get something, at least a different group. We get a, oh, hello. Oh no, this isn't good. Oh no, a 6, 5. In the previous video, when I did an example, I did a 6, 6, and that was not a good plant. So, group is the 6, so that means that it is in group D. Now, if you'll notice, pretty much all except for 1 plant in this group is going to affect the game in some manner, because they've all got the bold text. The only one that's not is going to be a 2, but we didn't roll a 2, we rolled a 5. Uh-oh. Corrupting spores. Pale green, I don't know how to pronounce this, buboes, covering the plant erupt, releasing clouds of choking spores. This sounds very much like a plant that you can find in No Man's Sky. There's like a plant that has these like oxygen sacs, and then it kind of explodes if you get too close to it. They coat your nose and throat as you struggle to get away. You can feel, oh no, you can feel yourself changing. Oh no. Mark this location on the map. Immediately apply the next effect from the corruption progression list. Well, we haven't been corrupted yet, so it's the first one there. Okay, so the first level of corruption. You begin to itch. Ooh. This happens each time you enter this hex. Oh no. So, we've got to write this on here, haven't we? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put here corrupting spores. And this was 6.5, in case I need to reference it. So if I come back into that hex again, I'm going to have to, again, automatically increase my corruption. Oh no. All right, pale green buboes. I'm going to have to look that up. Erupt, releasing clouds of choking spores. So small, elliptic leaves, whorlet arrangement. Then, did I put arrangement? I did in previous ones, didn't I? So I put here arrangement. Okay, and this is a 6.5 corrupting spores. Right, I am going to make a few notes here like I've done with the other plants, just a few little notes, and we're going to draw our plant here, but first I'm going to find out what buboes is. Right, plant number 3 is done, and we had these corrupting spores. So yeah, and this is infecting the whole hex. If I bring back the map, here we go. So this entire hex here, if I move into there again, I'm going to basically automatically increase my corruption by 1. So that's now going to be a hex that I'm going to try to avoid. But yes, what about the plant? Well, it was small, elliptic leaves, whorlet arrangement like the previous one, but like I say, it did have corrupting spores instead of anything else. So I've kind of done, because the thing is that I've already done two plants that had like the whorlet leaf arrangement in terms of having these like groups, like lines. So I thought for this one, I'd do something a little bit different because it talked about having these pale green buboes erupting. Right, I looked that up. So apparently buboes are like these liquid-filled lumps, lymphic nodes or something. And they were also a symptom of the bubonic plague. Yeah, bubonic. So, so I've kind of done them as these like sort of liquid or gas-filled sort of sacs. And what I've done is that for the leaves, the elliptic leaves and the whorlet arrangement, I've basically done it around the base of each of these kind of like gas or sort of liquid sacs, which are containing all the spores, as you can see here. Again, my artistic ability does need improvement. Hopefully games like these will make me better. So now we've got 3. We got the Cronum corsterita. We have the Danae monticola, and now the name that I rolled up on the online generator is the Fraxinus subulata. There you go. Oh, and I've also added some rough dimensions because the first one was medium, so I made it about sort of 1.5 meters tall. The second one, the Danae one, the one with the black ooze, I did it about 0.4 meters. This one is also a small plant, so I'm thinking maybe a little bit taller than the first one. The second one we did. Let's bring these out a little bit there. Put ourselves a little arrow here. So I'm thinking that maybe this one, a little bit bigger than this, maybe 0.5 meters. There you go. We've got 3 done. How many more are we going to get? So again, I'm going to put these inside the little container. Now, what I might do is I might actually break this up into a number of small videos rather than just having one long kind of playthrough video. Because looking at the time, the next time we move, it's going to be 11 o'clock. So in terms of time, we're not even halfway there kind of thing. So what I might do is I might stop this video here. It might be a little bit short compared to my normal videos, but I'm thinking that will make it a little bit more manageable for people to watch. But also, like I say, we've still got a long way to go. And as I'm moving through these areas here, and as the risk value is going to go up, I'm thinking that we're going to be encountering more plants, more corruption, but I've got to make sure that I can still get back to the exfil in time. So I've got to manage my time and not get too far away. So I'm thinking that this will do for the first part of the playthrough video. Like I say, we've got 3 plants so far. Got plenty of paper, don't worry. Got plenty of paper to fill out and put in here and then do my record. But yes, this is part 1. Part 2 will be coming very soon. This is Exclusion Zone Botanist. You can find it on Itch. I'll put all the links in the description to the Itch page, but also to the upcoming Kickstarter page. Until the next video, until part 2, take care, stay safe, cheers.